February 3, 1945. Above Berlin. 11:47 a.m. Luftwaffe pilot Major Heinz Knoke climbed to 28,000 feet in his Messerschmitt Bf 109. What he saw through the cockpit canopy defied comprehension. Stretching from horizon to horizon, more than 1,000 American heavy bombers filled the sky. B-17 Flying Fortresses and B-24 Liberators, protected by 575 P-51 Mustang fighters. The formation extended for miles. Knoke recorded in his logbook that evening, "We are fighting the entire American Air Force. Germany cannot win this war." He was right. This is the story of how German fighter pilots came to understand the inevitable outcome of World War II through direct observation of American air power. Between 1942 and 1945, the United States Army Air Forces deployed increasingly massive bomber formations over occupied Europe. The progression was documented in Luftwaffe intelligence reports, pilot debriefings, and official German military assessments. German pilots watched as American bomber formations grew from dozens of aircraft to hundreds, then to formations exceeding 1,000 planes in a single mission. Each increase represented undeniable evidence of American industrial capacity. The transformation was recorded in fighter pilot combat reports filed with the Luftwaffe High Command, now archived in the German Federal Military Archives in Freiburg. These documents reveal a collective psychological shift from confidence to recognition of defeat, driven not by propaganda, but by mathematical reality observed at 25,000 feet. This is what they saw and what it meant. August 17, 1943. Schweinfurt, Germany. The 8th Air Force launched Mission 84, targeting ball-bearing factories critical to German war production. 376 B-17 bombers participated, escorted by P-47 Thunderbolts to the limit of their range. Luftwaffe Major Egenmeyer led JG-2 Fighter Wing to intercept. His after-action report, preserved in Bundesarchiv records, documented the engagement with precision. The German fighters destroyed 36 American bombers. 60 more sustained battle damage. Mayer's report contained an additional observation that would prove more significant than the tactical victory. He wrote, "The Americans returned with 340 bombers. In previous wars, such losses would end offensive operations. The enemy formations appeared again within 72 hours, fully restored." Luftwaffe intelligence confirmed his observation. Within 1 week, American bomber strength over Germany had returned to pre-mission levels. The command staff calculated replacement rates and reached an uncomfortable conclusion documented in their Hond. September 1943 intelligence summary. The report stated, "The enemy is replacing losses at a rate that exceeds our capacity to inflict them. Current attrition rates, though favorable tactically, cannot achieve strategic effect." Major Meyer was killed in action on March 2, 1944, but his assessment proved accurate. American aircraft production in 1943 reached 85,898 planes. According to U.S. War Production Board statistics, Germany produced 24,807 aircraft the same year, per Reich Ministry of Armaments records. The numerical disparity created a simple mathematical problem for German fighter pilots. Each successful interception was replaced by American factories within days. Each German pilot lost required months to replace, if replacement occurred at all. This reality became visible in the skies over Germany throughout 1944, as bomber formations continued to grow. January 11, 1944. Brunswick, Germany. The 8th Air Force dispatched 663 heavy bombers against aircraft production facilities. This represented the largest single-day bomber formation German defenders had encountered. Luftwaffe pilot Lieutenant Heinz Knoke recorded his impression in his combat diary. Later published as I Flew for the Führer, Knoke wrote, "The sky was filled with bombers. I counted formations until the numbers became meaningless. Our entire fighter wing attacked continuously for 30 minutes. We destroyed perhaps 20 bombers. Hundreds continued to their targets." The mission statistics, compiled by the 8th Air Force Historical Division, confirmed 60 bombers reached primary targets. Fighter escorts claimed 39 German aircraft destroyed. The Luftwaffe High Command recorded 34 fighters lost, with 19 pilots killed. This exchange ratio concerned German tactical commanders. Each American bomber crew loss represented 10 trained airmen. But crew training pipelines in the United States, documented by the Army Air Force's Training Command, were producing 65,000 qualified aircrew annually by 1944. Luftwaffe training capacity had collapsed to fewer than 8,000 pilots per year, according to Reich Air Ministry production reports. The mathematical problem was becoming operationally visible. February 20th through 25th, 1944. Operation Argument. The 8th Air Force and 5th Air Force launched coordinated attacks against German aircraft production. Over 6 days, more than 3,800 heavy bomber sorties struck facilities across Germany and occupied territories. Luftwaffe Major General Adolf Galland, commander of fighter forces, filed situation reports throughout the operation. These documents, held in the Bundesarchiv, reveal growing alarm. Galland's February 22nd report stated, "Today's raids involved an estimated 1,000 heavy bombers with 835 escort fighters. Our forces engaged throughout the mission profile. We destroyed 37 bombers and 11 fighters. We lost 43 fighters with 26 pilots killed. This rate of attrition is unsustainable." The week concluded with 2,600 American aircrew casualties, including 389 killed. The Luftwaffe suffered 355 aircraft destroyed, with 262 pilots killed or missing. American bomber strength recovered to pre-operation levels within 2 weeks. German fighter strength continued declining. Lieutenant General Karl Spaatz, commander of U.S. Strategic Air Forces in Europe, reported to the Joint Chiefs of Staff on March 5th, German fighter opposition shows signs of qualitative and quantitative degradation. Replacement rates appear insufficient to maintain defensive capability. German fighter pilots observed this degradation firsthand. March 1944 brought a tactical shift that German pilots noted in debriefing reports. American bomber formations began appearing with continuous fighter escort throughout their entire mission profile. The P-51 Mustang, equipped with drop tanks, possessed sufficient range to accompany bombers to targets deep in Germany and return. Fighter Command of the 8th Air Force, according to their operational records, deployed Mustangs in increasing numbers throughout spring 1944. Luftwaffe pilot Major Walter Nowotny, commanding JG-101, filed reports documenting the changed tactical environment. On March 8th, he wrote, "Enemy fighters now appear at all altitudes and remain throughout the engagement. Previously, we could attack bomber formations after escorts turned back. This advantage no longer exists." The statistical impact appeared in Luftwaffe loss records. In January 1944, German fighters' loss numbered 194. By April, losses reached 489 aircraft. Pilot casualties increased proportionally. Luftwaffe training commands could not replace these losses. The Reich Air Ministry reported in April 1944 that training time for replacement pilots had decreased from 240 hours to 160 hours due to fuel shortages. According to instructor reports archived in Freiburg, many replacement pilots arrived at operational units with fewer than 20 hours in type-specific aircraft. American pilot training, by contrast, required minimum 400 hours before combat assignment per Army Air Force's Training Command standards. This disparity in preparation showed in combat effectiveness. June 6, 1944, Normandy, France. Allied forces landed on French beaches under an air umbrella that German pilots could not penetrate. The Luftwaffe flew 319 sorties over Normandy on D-Day, according to High Command records. Allied air forces flew more than 14,600 sorties the same day, per Supreme Headquarters Allied Expeditionary Force statistics. Luftwaffe Colonel Joseph Priller, commanding JG-26 in France, filed a situation report on June 7 stating, "We are outnumbered at all times by ratios exceeding 20 to 1. Effective operations are impossible. We can achieve local tactical success, but cannot influence the strategic situation." The disparity worsened throughout summer 1944. As Allied forces advanced across France, they constructed forward airfields that placed fighter bases closer to Germany. Range advantages increased. German defensive depth decreased. September 11, 1944, Roland and Merseburg, Germany. The 8th Air Force dispatched 1,131 heavy bombers against synthetic oil facilities. This exceeded any previous single-day deployment. Fighter escort totaled 734 aircraft. Major Heinz Knoke intercepted this formation near Magdeburg. His diary entry, recorded that evening, captured the psychological impact. "I counted bomber formations until my brain rejected the numbers. The sky was dark with aircraft. Our group of 18 fighters attacked a formation of 50 bombers. We destroyed 3. The remaining 47 continued unaffected." He continued, "I have flown combat missions since 1940. I have seen our forces dominate Poland, France, and Russia. Today, I understood we are defeated. The Americans possess resources we cannot match or counter. This is not a military assessment. It is mathematics." Knoke survived the war. His combat diary, verified by historians including John Wheel and Donald Caldwell, provides first-hand documentation of the psychological transformation German pilots experienced. By October 1944, the arithmetic had become undeniable to German tactical commanders. Luftwaffe intelligence compiled statistics from mission reports and presented findings to Reich Marshal Hermann Göring. The October 15th intelligence summary, archived in Bundesarchiv, stated, "Enemy heavy bomber strength in theater, approximately 2,400 operational aircraft. Monthly replacement capacity exceeds losses by factor of 2. Current German fighter strength, 1,623 operational aircraft. Monthly losses exceed production by 23%. The report concluded, "Continuation of current attrition rates will reduce day fighter capability to ineffectiveness within 4 months. No operational solution exists given current resource constraints." German fighter production in October 1944 reached 3,031 aircraft, the highest monthly total of the war, according to Reich Ministry statistics. But this included all fighter types, many diverted to ground attack roles on the Eastern Front. Fighters available for defensive Germany numbered fewer than half of production total. American bomber production in October 1944 totaled 1,583 heavy bombers alone, per War Production Board records. Combined with existing inventory and low loss rates, American strength continued increasing while German strength declined despite maximum production effort. German pilots processed this reality through direct observation rather than statistics. Luftwaffe reports from late 1944 contain repeated descriptions of formations too large to effectively engage. Lieutenant Walther Hegener, flying with JG-26, filed an after-action report on November 2, 1944. Following an engagement near Frankfurt, we were ordered to intercept enemy bomber formation. Upon reaching attack position, we observed a continuous stream of bombers extending beyond visual range in all directions. Our staffel of 12 aircraft engaged the nearest formation. We expended all ammunition against 4 bombers. 3 showed damage. None fell. We broke off attack due to fuel state. The bomber stream continued unaffected. This experience repeated across fighter units throughout late 1944. Individual pilots might achieve tactical success. Strategic impact remained negligible. February 3, 1945. Berlin. The 8th Air Force launched its largest single-day mission of the European War. 1,003 B-17 Flying Fortresses attacked Berlin. An additional 436 B-24 Liberators struck secondary targets. Fighter escort numbered 575 P-51 Mustangs. Total force: 2,014 aircraft over Germany simultaneously. Major Heinz Knoke intercepted formations approaching Berlin from the west. His logbook entry, preserved in his published diary, described the experience. At 11:47 hours, I reached altitude over Berlin. The sight exceeded anything I had witnessed in 5 years of combat flying. American bombers filled the entire sky from horizon to horizon. The formations were stacked in layers from 20,000 to 28,000 feet. I estimated the bomber stream extended for 40 miles. He continued, I attacked a formation of B-17s. I destroyed 1 bomber before P-51s engaged my aircraft. I evaded and attempted a second attack. Fuel state forced withdrawal after 8 minutes of combat. The bomber formations continued to Berlin unimpeded. On the ground, we counted more than 1,000 bombers over the city. The mission resulted in 24 American bombers lost, per 8th Air Force records. The Luftwaffe lost 29 fighters, with 22 pilots killed or missing. Knoke's final assessment in his logbook that evening stated, today's mission demonstrated absolute American air superiority. We cannot prevent these attacks. We can only inflict minor losses that the enemy replaces within days. Germany cannot win this war. This is now obvious to every fighter pilot in the Luftwaffe. By March 1945, effective fighter opposition over Germany had largely ceased. Luftwaffe operational records show declining sortie rates despite adequate aircraft numbers on paper. Fuel shortages, ammunition shortages, and pilot losses had degraded operational capability. On March 18th, the 8th Air Force dispatched 1,329 heavy bombers against Berlin without encountering significant fighter opposition. Luftwaffe situation reports from that day noted 32 fighters airborne to oppose the raid. The arithmetic had reached its inevitable conclusion. American forces had achieved complete air superiority through sustained industrial production and replacement capacity. German defenders could no longer mount effective resistance. April 1945 saw continued American bomber operations. Though targets shifted from industrial facilities to transportation networks and tactical support, German fighter opposition became negligible. Major Heinz Knoke flew his final combat mission on April 24, 1945. He recorded in his diary, I have flown 400 combat missions. I have witnessed the complete transformation of air power from our initial superiority to absolute American dominance. The progression was visible and measurable. Each month brought larger American formations. Each month brought fewer German fighters. The outcome was never in doubt once I saw the scale of American production manifested in the skies over Germany. He surrendered to British forces on May 8, 1945. The story of German fighter pilots in World War II illustrates how direct observation of material capacity can overcome propaganda and reveal strategic reality. Between August 1942 and May 1945, the United States produced 96,318 heavy bombers and 79,152 fighter aircraft According to War Production Board final statistics, Germany produced 90,684 aircraft of all types during the same period, per Reich ministry records. This production disparity translated directly into operational capability visible to German pilots. In 1942, 8th Air Force bomber raids numbered dozens of aircraft. By 1943, raids grew to hundreds. By 1944, formations regularly exceeded 1,000 aircraft. German pilots documented this progression in combat reports, diaries, and post-war interviews. The transformation of their understanding followed a consistent pattern: initial confidence based on tactical superiority, growing concern as American numbers increased, and ultimate recognition of inevitable defeat when force disparity exceeded their capacity to inflict meaningful attrition. The February 3, 1945 Berlin raid represented the culmination of this progression. More than 1,000 American heavy bombers over a single target demonstrated industrial capacity that German production could never match. Major Heinz Knoke's observation that day recorded in his logbook and later verified by historians captured the moment when strategic reality became undeniable. We are fighting the entire American Air Force. Germany cannot win this war. He was not alone in this assessment. Luftwaffe intelligence reports from early 1945, now declassified and archived, contain similar conclusions from tactical commanders throughout the fighter force. The arithmetic of attrition had produced an unavoidable result. American losses remained significant throughout the campaign. Between 1942 and 1945, the 8th Air Force alone suffered 26,000 killed and 47,000 aircraft lost or damaged. These casualties represented real sacrifice by aircrew who flew into heavily defended airspace repeatedly. But American replacement capacity exceeded losses. German capacity did not. This fundamental difference determined the campaign outcome regardless of tactical skill or pilot courage. The strategic bombing campaign against Germany demonstrated that sustained industrial production, translated into overwhelming operational capability, could achieve air superiority despite tactical resistance. German fighter pilots, through direct observation of expanding American formations, understood this reality before their high command officially acknowledged defeat. The view from 28,000 feet provided undeniable evidence of mathematical inevitability. Major Heinz Knoke survived the war. He lived until 1993. In interviews throughout his later life, he consistently returned to the same observation. The day he saw 1,000 American bombers over Berlin was the day he knew with certainty that Germany had lost. Not through propaganda, not through estimation, through direct observation of force ratio that no amount of tactical skill could overcome. The numbers told the story. The German pilots read the numbers in the sky, and they knew